U.S. tariffs on Mexico and Canada spark major trade crisis. In February 2025, the U.S. government sent shockwaves through global markets by implementing a steep 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada. This aggressive move ignited an unprecedented trade dispute. With more than 80% of Mexico's exports going to the U.S., the reaction from Mexico was both immediate and strategic. The auto industry, responsible for 27% of Mexico's export revenue, is now facing severe risks. The tensions arose when the U.S. administration ramped up trade restrictions on key partners, aiming to bolster domestic manufacturing and tighten border security. However, Mexico plays a crucial role in the North American supply chain, acting as the U.S.'s largest trade supplier. The announcement of tariffs sent Mexico's financial markets into turmoil. President Claudia Shinebomb took a strong stance, declaring, "We will not accept this imposition." To reinforce her message, she led a mass demonstration in Mexico City's Zakalo Square, where thousands waved flags and chanted, "Mexico deserves respect." But Mexico's response wasn't just symbolic. The government swiftly launched diplomatic negotiations to contain the economic fallout. Under intense pressure from businesses and the public, Mexico avoided immediate escalation by opting for talks. Within weeks, President Shinebomb met with U.S. officials, securing a temporary delay on tariffs applied to USMCA covered goods until April 20. While seen as a partial victory, the U.S. refused to lift tariffs on steel and aluminum critical materials for car production, leaving North American automakers scrambling to adapt. Industry giants like Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis warned that increased costs could push vehicle prices higher and potentially lead to factory closures. Ford estimated the price of an F-150 could rise by as much as $12,000. The supply chain complexities add to the crisis, as many auto parts cross the U.S.-Mexico border multiple times before assembly. With each crossing now carrying a 25% surcharge, costs will inevitably trickle down to consumers. The electric vehicle EV sector is also feeling the heat, as key components sourced from Mexico, such as batteries and sensors, are set to become significantly more expensive. The tariffs triggered a ripple effect beyond the auto industry. U.S. stock markets took a major hit, with the Dow Jones plunging over 700 points in days. Meanwhile, the Mexican peso lost 5% of its value against the U.S. dollar, driving up domestic prices and worsening economic instability. In response, Mexico is accelerating trade negotiations with Brazil, China, and South American countries to reduce reliance on the U.S. Additionally, Mexico retaliated by slapping tariffs on major U.S. agricultural exports, including corn, soybeans, and avocados, dealing a heavy blow to American farmers, especially in Texas and California. As the April 20 deadline for the tariff suspension approaches, uncertainty looms. If no agreement is reached, the full 25% tariffs could take effect across all industries, further straining North America's economic ties. Will the U.S. and Mexico find a compromise, or is a full-scale trade war inevitable? Tesla takes a major hit amid tariff fallout. Tesla's stock has nosedived 45% in recent months, with sales in China plummeting by 50% and European demand falling by 29%. The culprit? The new tariffs imposed by the U.S. government on imports from Mexico, China, and other key trade partners. But this isn't just a Tesla problem. The broader economic impact is hitting American consumers hard, with rising prices and job losses across industries. As soon as the tariffs took effect, Tesla's production costs soared. The company relies on imported parts, many of which now face hefty surcharges. Factories in Mexico and Asia are encountering increased trade barriers, delaying deliveries, The uncertainty surrounding these tariffs has also spooked investors, triggering a sell off of Tesla shares. Adding to the turmoil, Elon Musk's previous support for Trump's economic policies is now backfiring as his own businesses bear the brunt of these tariffs. Tesla vehicle prices have surged by $5,000 to $10,000, putting pressure on affordability. More than 12,000 EV-related jobs are now at risk, with layoffs already happening at Tesla plants in Texas, California, and New York. The cost of owning an EV is rising, slowing the transition to cleaner energy. Meanwhile, foreign automakers like BYD China, Volkswagen Germany, and Hyundai South Korea are gaining a competitive edge. With lower costs and fewer trade restrictions, they are capturing a larger market share while Tesla struggles. Additionally, Tesla's brand loyalty is eroding, with repeat buyers in blue states dropping from 72% to 65%. Even in conservative-leaning states, loyalty has barely increased. A significant 32% of American consumers now say they would never consider buying a Tesla. For Tesla to recover, the company must adapt quickly. Key strategies include reducing costs, expanding into non-tariff affected markets, accelerating self-driving technology advancements, and rebuilding consumer trust through better pricing and service. If Tesla fails to act swiftly, it risks losing its status as the world's leading EV manufacturer. Government contracts and Musk's expanding influence, a controversial $2. $4 billion US government contract is quietly shifting from Verizon to Elon Musk's SpaceX, raising concerns about transparency and favoritism. The Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) had initially awarded the contract to Verizon for modernizing air traffic communications, but recent moves suggest SpaceX is poised to take over. Musk has long claimed to oppose government interference in business, yet his companies continue to secure lucrative government deals while regulatory investigations into Tesla and SpaceX mysteriously fade away. Recent probes by the FAA, SEC, and DOJ into Musk's businesses have either been stalled or dismissed. Critics argue that Musk's political ties have shielded him from accountability, allowing him to expand his empire without regulatory constraints. This raises pressing questions. Is Musk leveraging political influence to sidestep oversight? Are these government contracts awarded based on merit, or are they part of a larger strategic alliance? US-Europe trade war heats up on February 10, 2025. Trump reignited a trade war with Europe by imposing a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports. A week later, he escalated further, slapping new tariffs on European automobiles, pharmaceuticals, and semiconductors, three industries vital to the EU economy. Additionally, he took aim at Europe's digital services tax, vowing to protect American tech giants like Google, Amazon, and Apple. The EU wasted no time in responding. European leaders unveiled retaliatory tariffs set to take effect on March 31, targeting American agricultural goods, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Kentucky bourbon, and Levi's jeans industries that impact key U.S. voting regions. The EU's goal is clear: pressure Trump politically ahead of the election. This trade war mirrors the 2018-2021 tensions, when Trump's tariffs on European goods triggered billion-dollar losses on both sides. While the conflict temporarily ended under Biden, Trump's return to office has reignited hostilities. Analysts warn that if this escalates, economic losses could exceed $29 billion, 4 times the impact of the previous trade war. As tensions rise, one critical question remains. Can the US and EU de-escalate before economic damage spirals out of control? Or are we heading toward a prolonged standoff with lasting consequences?